So something happened last week that we haven't been able to stop talking about. Google essentially had their next AI model leaked, which real quick, before we get into the brevity of this whole thing, let me show you folks where we're at here. It's pretty crazy because I think they're a week away or less than a week away from announcing it. And this was leaked, I believe, on the 10th of May. And in the AI world, this kind of went crazy. Everybody was going nuts. I know that you've been in the space for a long time, as long as I have, maybe longer. And you're watching this stuff every day. When you saw this, what was your first reaction? Great, here's another clone of something, or this could be actually potentially good. Because what was interesting, you looked at it from the purview of video editing tool and how it could take over Premiere Pro or something, right? I thought that was a pretty good instinct there.
Yeah, something like that. You know, everything comes out and you're like, okay, I got to take a look into it and see what it actually does. It's more than a VO 3.1. I think the biggest thing that sets this Omni apart, and what we're looking at in the screenshot, is just the leak, the UI leak, where it says with Gemini Omni, right, where it's underlined in red. Like that was the only thing that was leaked. But for what makes this thing different is in the same chat, in the same context of you going back and forth, it's not creating a new video every time. It's adding the specific text you want in the video. It's editing that specific video to change the color of the jacket from purple to red. So you're not getting, you're not spending $5 per video you're generating to generate new videos. You're editing one single video. I guess you're probably still spending a lot of money on it, because we looked at these output costs, which we'll get to in a sec, and it's a lot of money, or it's a lot of tokens, which correlates to a lot of money. But again, that stuff always comes down after it's released and launched and things get optimized. But it is pretty cool for a full workflow to be able to create something that it's going to work for your business, for your marketing, for your personal brand, your creator brand.
I think before we even dive a little bit deeper into the weeds of the whole thing, most people are just, oh, this is just another update. Like, what is Gemini Omni? Like, there's really no frame of reference. I think they're not inside the AI world, so it can get a little bit confusing, but it's more like they're collapsing all these separate tools into one ecosystem. I understand Gemini is an ecosystem. You could, it has a chat feature, and then there's also anti-gravity that is a CLI that allows you to actually do the thing that Claude Code does, which is coding apps and building websites, what have you. So there's two different ecosystems. So I feel like they're trying to combine all of these things into one. So one place you go, you're able to edit videos, you're able to talk and chat, you're able to create images, able to do everything, build websites, whatever it is. I don't know if that's how your perspective is kind of taking this thing, but I think right now most people use AI. Even sophisticated users, they're kind of bouncing around between tools, myself included, because you're going to one thing that does really, really well for the written word. You're doing one thing for writing code. You're doing one for fixing and checking all the bugs. You're doing one for generating images, and you're using another one to help edit videos. And it may not even be full-fledged videos. It might be at this point limited to maybe like a short form type of video that's only like 30 seconds in length or less.
Sure. Yeah. I honestly think this product is it's to supplement the skill gap, right?
Yeah.
You could do this stuff in anti-gravity, connect all your different APIs, have the best model for the best task, whether it's creating the video, creating the image, writing the copy, writing the script to develop the image or develop the video and then edit the video, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for your typical everyday user, just being able to do it in one single chat box is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So people who don't have the skills, this is Omni's for that kind of person.
I agree. Mark clip here. Do you want me to show the other?
Yeah. So there's a couple of competitors to Google VO. We know Google is the best at creating images, and then obviously one of the best at creating video. Cdance seems to be the only competitor that kind of matches up to the quality, and they're actually probably slightly better than Google VO is.
Yeah.
Right? Today. As
Today,
of right
yeah.
now.
Today, yeah. Is it better? Or is it because they gave you it's a little bit longer in length, right? Isn't it like 15 seconds versus 8 or something?
4, 8, 12. I think they go in 4-second increments.
Is it?
For which platform?
I think Dance has the longest that you can
15.
get. 15, yeah. So it is technically a little bit longer than, plus the imaging is really, really good. So yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that part. So do you think that like this one model takes all, kind of removes the whole aspect of oh, it's not just a feature update anymore. Like, no, no, this is an entire workflow change that we're incorporating into artificial intelligence for people. And I really think this is not just for the general consumer. I think this is going to replace, it has the potential to replace a lot of the intermediate and sometimes even power users. If you think about like their day to day of what it is that they're doing for their specific job role.
Yeah, sure. No, I think they're claiming their space in the AI world. Claude's good at copywriting, Gemini's great at image generation and video generation, and ChatGPT's good at research and deep thinking and, you know, producing quality data analytics and filtering through that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But you know, Nano Banana's been the best image generator for a year, and it's going
Yeah.
to continue to be the best because that's where they're putting all of their resources is into those kinds of models. Like ChatGPT shut down Sora 2 because they wanted to focus on a different category. And they needed that compute power to be able to train models to do that when they were losing the race to video, basically.
Yeah. I think there's a big distinction between, because I was trying to figure out like what is the difference between Omni and what we currently have with VO 3.1 in terms of a generation model, right? And I think from what I understood is that Gemini Omni is multimodal and Google VO is high fidelity. So multimodal meaning text, video, and audio. Whereas like you can only do video in Google VO3. But if you're
So yeah, well,
using
it does audio, it does
it does,
text.
okay.
The separation between these two things is that
Interface?
you're not having to generate, hey, I need a different word in this video. You're not regenerating the whole video and spending $5. You are changing a word in an edited version of the video.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
That's the main distinction is, and then the context is all there too. So you're not just putting in the same prompt and hoping for the best generation. You're actually talking and discussing a game plan, a storyboard, a workflow of how this should be synchronized and set up. And then you're deploying the video, right? You're deploying the video model to create the video. And then you can continue to do iterations on that without starting from scratch.
So essentially it's allowing the users to create and modify videos through chat conversations, and it's not having to start from scratch. So
Absolutely.
that's a big plus. That kind of gives me like a Descript feel, vibe ish.
Well, this is why I'm saying it's closing the skill gap, is because if I was a power user or as I was an enterprise, I would have the money to be able to use the best models to create the script, to create the storyboard, to outline the images, to do all the preliminary design stuff. And then I would use whatever is powering the Omni video model specifically. Probably VO4 is what it's going to be if they come out with that, or if they say this is going to be an alignment thing for Google, is saying what it is. Is it VO4 or is it going to be a whole different cool product, Omni? I'm assuming Omni, but powered by VO4 in the back end. They're just not going to talk about it like VO4 is the big product. But like I said, if I was an enterprise, like I would just plug in VO4 to the actual video generation portion of this project in my anti-gravity or wherever I'm connecting all my APIs, and have the best models do the work. I wouldn't, that's what the skill gap is for. I just want to get this thing done. Maybe you're an individual content creator. I just want to do it in one shot. It doesn't need to be the best of the best, but it creates content in a timely manner that is good.
I got it. So then the concern is that I think kind of I glossed over in the specific AI coverage around this field is the usage limits and what we're going to be talking about. Someone on the pro plan that spends $20 a month can generate 2 videos
Today,
today.
pre-release, correct?
And
Yes.
yeah, it eats what, 80-90% of their daily usage. So it's not even, for a use case, it's not even practical.
Well, comparatively, I mean, you can generate a dozen videos on other
See that?
models. On other models, you'll generate a dozen of them, and you hope 2 of them might be good, you know? So if you want to put this thing on a level playing field, it's something that will generate it better on the first try. You're not going to spend $20 just generating the same video 12 times.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see if that comes to fruition, but I think that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's going to be addressed, because there's a version of this where Omni is genuinely impressive, I think, and the tech is real, but if they price it in a way that makes it irrelevant for most people, being excited about it isn't going to really move the needle unless you're on the max plan. You're spending, a couple $100 a month. But for the the consumer that's only spending $20 a month to be able to leverage this tool, what is there to be excited about? I think there's a practicality that needs to be involved here. I think there's a capability gap, right? And close it and in terms of like what can you access versus what is out there and what you can actually use. And so if you're a small creator, you're a solo operator, you're just trying to run your business and you don't have a big tech budget, what this is over your head. Like there's no point in you even diving deep into something like this. It's not exciting anymore. It's not going to be helpful to you. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's not the case, but I don't know.
Well, you think about it like this, like DSLR cameras were for the video creator, and then the iPhone was for the person who wants a good picture.
That's a
But they don't
great,
want to deal with aperture and shutter speed and all that kind of stuff.
that's a great
They
example.
just want focus, lighting, take the photo, done. And I mean, now iPhone can basically do what DSLRs would do for the everyday user that doesn't have the skill to use a mirrorless camera, So I think that's a good comparison to kind of relate thing too.
So the people in the companies who can absorb the cost early to figure all of this out in terms of workflows, because I mean, you know this, everybody's coming out with the moment that a feature is released, you start to figure out different use cases. And whether it's cost intensive or not, by the time that the cost comes down for everybody else, those early users already have 6 months of reps. They've already put in the work. They already know how to use it well, but they're also creating content in order to show you how to do that. That's not what we're about. We're trying to bring awareness and not so much do all tutorial work. So if you want to talk about the competitive landscape for a second, because Google isn't just operating on a vacuum here. You've got Sora, you've got OpenAI, you've got, is it Seedance? Is Seedance owned by the same company that owns TikTok? Or that used to own TikTok since TikTok sold it? I can't remember.
Since TikTok is getting sold again. I'm not sure who the owner of Seedance is, but I know that they are.
And then Kling.
Yeah, and Sora's sunset. Sora's gone.
Sora's gone?
Yeah, April 26th, I think, is when they just took it off. Sora 2 is just gone now.
OpenAI got rid of it.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do instead?
Focus on a different competitive landscape in the AI industry.
And not video.
Not video. Not as of right now, not video, no.
And Sora was that one that, didn't Eric make a video and it got like 3 million views or something about?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was like some like dog video.
Yeah, or a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But that was like early.
Yeah. It's like the Will Smith spaghetti.
And yeah, that's become almost like a benchmark for these AI models. How does it do with Will Smith eating spaghetti? Yeah.
All right. So Google I/O 2026, you were talking about in the beginning. It's around the corner. There are 3 things that they were mentioning that was interesting that can go in place of like what to watch and what to really not waste your time. Obviously, Omni is one, but it's not a rebrand. We just discussed that. Option 2 is it's a companion product, right? So it's complementing the Google ecosystem. Or option 3, which is, I think, the ambitious and potentially the right way to go, is that is a genuine all-in-one model, text, image, video, real-time, unified. What's your read on that? Is that what you believe? Do you think it's just
no? I mean,
lipstick on a pig?
I'm just gonna keep going back to users' experience with AI. I mean, think about it like computer science. That's why engineers were so important for companies to have, because they could develop the code. But me and you, we can understand the code, but we could never write it.
Right.
So imagine what the majority of the population feels like. They can chat with AI, they can write in a prompt, but they're not actually knowing what's on the back end creating this stuff, or even responding to it, or what the data, where the data comes from, or how it's categorized, or why it pulls where it pulls based on the question and how it's asked.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Omni is truly going to be it's not going to be like a tax for convenience, right? It's going to be literally the only way in for new users and people who just don't have a lot of AI experience to be able to utilize it. And it's going to be at the cost of what they think Omni's worth, which is probably going to be pretty expensive, because it is, like, you think about a done for you service. Now it's very close. There's obviously prompting that needs to be done. If I could click a button and have it just generate the video that I want, that'd be great. But impossible, because everybody's got a different nuances in all of their creativity. Like, your mind's creative. There's different nuances of what people think is, and an eye for detail and that kind of stuff. But no, I mean, it's probably going to be a new way to learn how to prompt for video. You know, I think about it differently, like visual, like things that we see visually. Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Research and text, data is data. Like it's going to be the same across the board. So being able to find the prompt structure that works best for this model or these models is going to be different than what it would be for in OpenAI or Claude. Only learning curve that I see, but other than that, like any user can use this thing.
Any user can use it.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the strategy behind all of this?
Open up the gates to the majority.
Not to bloat it, but just to give access to people. Because my initial reaction was, oh, this is just bloatware.
Yeah, no, give access. I think it would be the speed to access without the user intelligence being there.
That's interesting. So it's definitely a bigger conversation because everyone's focused on features. Nobody's really talking about what
But I
happened.
mean, dude, we're talking about this a week before the conference where you're gonna get the answers to your questions, right? So
Totally.
it's a lot of speculation. I mean, I could be
1000%.
entirely wrong. They could go out there and say Omni was an accident. We are launching VO4.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I mean, yeah.
That'd be funny. And
I
like, I don't know. I listen, I'm in favor of this entire ecosystem because I think really that's where things are headed. The average user, the intermediate, the pro user, to be able to have a single sign-on of something that handles all the things that you need to do that is part of your work, your environment of tasks that need to be completed. And that's not to say that you're not going to use another large language model, but at the same time, like maybe they'll jump on this thing and building total ecosystems. I think that was an introductory to this whole thing was cowork. I think
Yeah.
it bridged the gap between like, oh, the full terminal and just chat. It's kind of like, you know, the intermediate. Like it's still not that scary, but you can still get some stuff done.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we did with SparkPad, right? It made
Right.
things just more clear for the user to be able to categorize the context they wanted to put into the chat and where and when it should be used.
Okay, so for someone who's not deep in this world, not a developer, not working at an AI company, just someone who uses AI tools occasionally, what do you think they should take away from this Gemini Omni story?
Well, I think it's something that we learned when we were building Hizzy too. You know, we wanted to come out with all of these features that were easier for the user to use, but it wasn't necessarily what the users wanted. And I think the skill gap is actually what the users want. I think they're on the right track with Omni. I think being able to deploy something that's so user friendly that you can pick it up like an iPhone and use it makes a lot more sense than some niche, you know, kind of wrapper that works for 10%. You know, this is going to work for 90% of the population or AI users. And then all of the enterprises and power users can still use their workflows in anti-gravity. Like Google's doing some pretty cool things.
I think that's the right way to look at it. I think people who get ahead of the stuff or aren't necessarily the ones that are into the big tech stuff, but are curious, I think they're the ones that really understand like what's going to come early enough to position themselves before it arrives. Because you may not be tech savvy, but you understand position and you understand where the world is heading. And you may be a power player in the world that you live in, but technology isn't your thing. How many of those people do you know?
You look at how many small businesses fail that are just for like the creative, just creative owned. 90% of them fail. And it's not because they're not utilizing technology or utilizing new technology that comes out. It's because they're not preparing themselves for the audience that they're trying to sell to. They haven't thought about what their users want, what their audience needs, what pain points they're solving. Like it still goes back to basic marketing. Like you have to understand your audience before you try and sell them something. So Omni might not even be for you. You might not even need it.
Nathan, this was a good one.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to mention before we jump off?
No, I think that's about it. Again, you guys can reach out to us in the links below if you have more questions.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Follow us all over the interwebs. And Nate, good to have you in the seat as always, man. Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.